Hello and welcome, excuse me, to today's edition of Daf in Bekhorot Perek. Sorry, not Perek. Bekhorot Daf 17 Omid A. So let's dive straight in. Mechai b'matanos Rabbi Yossi Poter Meis Echon Mehen Rabbi Talfan Omer Yechaloku Rabbi Akiva Omer Hamosi Mechaveru Olav Ha'ayah Zacha Nekeva Ein Kan Lakoin Kulam. And when he slaughters the animal, he's obligated to have the gifts of the priesthood taken from it. So what does that mean? V'chai b'matanos. The halakha is according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi Haglili, which means that if a priest takes an animal whose status as a forbidden is uncertain, his twin is not subject to the mitzvah of priestly gifts. Some rule in accordance with Rabbi Meir that it is subject to the mitzvah of the gifts. That's the Rosh Hashanah. Even among the later authorities, this dispute remains unresolved, and that's from the Rambam Sefer Zerayim Hilchot Bekum 9.3 and see the Tats and the Shach and Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 61.20. From it, the gifts that one is required to give to a priest from an unsacred animal, the foreleg, the jaw, and the maw, and Rabbi Yossi deems him exempt from giving those gifts. If one of the two born together died, what's the footnote? Meis Echon Mehem. If one of the two male twins that are the first offspring of a ewe dies, the priest receives nothing, as the burden of proof is on the claimant, who in this case is a priest. Instead, the remaining twin is left to graze until it develops a blemish, at which point it may be eaten. That's from the Rambam Sefer Kabbalah Hilchot Bekhorot 5.1, 3, Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 3.18.1. And Rabbi Talfan says the priest and the owner divide the remaining lamb. Rabbi Akiva says, since there is uncertainty to whom it belongs, it remains in the possession of the owner, as the burden of proof rests upon the claimant. If a male and a female offspring were born together, everyone agrees that the priest has nothing here. So what's the footnote? Zacha Nekeva. If male and female twins are the first offspring of a ewe, the priest receives nothing because it is possible that the female was born first, and in order to claim the male, he must prove otherwise. Instead, the male is left to graze until it develops a blemish, at which point it may be eaten. That's in the Rambam Sefer Kabbalah Hilchot Bekhorot 5.1, 3, Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 3.18.1. And what's the other footnote? Zocha Nekeva Ein Kan Kohen Kulam. Rashi maintains that this is the halacha. This is halacha only according to the rabbis, who hold that the two offspring could have been born simultaneously, and the priest must prove that the male was born first. Others write that this halacha applies even according to Rabbi Yossi Haglili, as the verse states, and you shall set apart to the Lord all that which opens the womb, Exodus 13:12, from which it is derived that only male offspring that open the entire womb are counted, firstborn. See 9b. Here the female also opened the womb, and the male is therefore not considered a firstborn Tosfot. The commentaries note that this dispute has a practical ramification. According to Rashi, the male is left to grade until it develops the blemish, as it may actually be the firstborn. According to Tosfot, the offspring is completely non-sacred and may be eaten immediately, and that's from the Rashash. Gemara. The Mishnah teaches that the rabbis disagree with Rabbi Yossi Haglili, maintaining that it is impossible for the time of twin births to coincide precisely. They said in the school of Rabbi Yanai. According to Rabbi Yossi Haglili, we heard in the Mishnah that he says, it is possible for two events that are in the hand of heaven to coincide precisely, and all the more so it is clear that it is possible for two events that are in human hands to coincide precisely, as they are intended to be simultaneous. But according to the rabbis, evidently they maintain that it is impossible for two matters that are in the hand of heaven to coincide precisely. But with regard to events that are in human hands, what is their opinion? The Gemara suggests. Commentator proof from a Mishnah in Midot 3.1, a red line. What does that mean? Chut shel shikra. The external altar is bisected by a red line around it at half its height. And there's a picture here, if you have the Quran on page 113, a view of the altar from the south. Encircle the altar in the middle. So what does that mean? Chut shel shikra chagro be'etz emsa. A red line encircle the altar in the middle in order to separate between the blood that is presented on the upper part of the altar and the blood that is presented on the lower part. And that's Rambam Sefer Hilchot Beis Bechira 2:9, to separate between the blood that must be presented on the upper part of the altar and the blood that must be presented on the lower part of the altar. And if you say that this is impossible for two masses that are in human hands to coincide precisely, i.e. that people cannot measure the precise midpoint of an area, then that line will not be precisely in the middle, which means that there will be times when the priest puts blood meant on the upper part of the altar upon the lower section, and the blood meant for the lower section above. The Gemara rejects this proof. In that case, one widens the line a little, so that it certainly covers the middle part of the altar. The Gemara suggests, come and hear a proof from a measurement of the vessels, from the measurement of the altar of the temple. Since the Torah gives precise measurements for them, this indicates that it is possible to measure precisely. The Gemara rejects this proof as well. It is different there. The merciful one says, do it, and to whatever extent you can fulfill his directives. This finds favor in his eyes, as the verse states, all this in writing. At first glance, the verse has no relevance to the Gemara's argument. In fact, Rashi says that it should be admitted. There is a different version of the text which reads, it is different there because the merciful one said it, as it is written, all this in writing. In other words, the proof is rejected not because whatever a person can manage is sufficient, but because there God gave a guarantee that the measurement of the vessels on the altar will be perfectly precise. As the verse states, the Lord has made me wise by his hand upon me, even all the works of this pattern. If so, the standard version of the text might actually be an amalgamation of two different explanations. See Rabbeinu Gershom Mohagola. As the Lord made me wise by his hand upon me, even all the works of this pattern. And that's from 1 Chronicles 28:19. Rav Katina said, come and hear a different proof from a Braita. As an earthenware vessel that became richly impure can be purified only by being broken. If it is broken into two, the larger piece remains impure, while the smaller piece becomes pure. If one divided an impure earthenware oven into two pieces and they are equal in size. So what's the footnote? If an impure earthenware oven was split into two equal pieces, they both remain richly impure because it is impossible to determine which is the smallest, as stated in the Braita, and that's in the Rambam Sefer Tahora Hilchot Kalim 16:2. Both are richly impure because it's impossible for two to coincide precisely, i.e. one cannot measure exactly. Rav Kahana said, in rejection of this proof, an earthenware vessel is different, since it has indentations in it, i.e. the place of the break is uneven and is therefore particularly difficult to measure precisely. The Gemara suggests, come and hear another proof from a Mishnah in Sota 45b, with regard to a case involving the heifer whose neck is broken. Egla Rufa, a heifer whose neck is broken, when a murder victim's corpse is found outside a town and the identity of the murderer is unknown, the Torah mandates the following course of action. See Deuteronomy 21:1-9. First, men of the great Sanhedrin measure the distance between the corpse and the nearby town, and the town found to be nearest to the corpse must perform the rite of the heifer whose neck is broken. This measurement is performed even if it is obvious which town is closest. Next, the elders of that town bring a heifer that has never been used for any labor and break his neck in a riverbed that has not been tilled. The elders wash their hands and recite a statement absolving themselves of guilt. The murderer is discovered before the heifer is killed. The rite is not performed. If the same person was found precisely between the two towns, the two towns bring two heifers between them. This is the same in Rabbi Eliezer. What's the reason that each town must bring a heifer? Is it not because Rabbi Eliezer holds, with regard to masses that are in human hands, it is possible for two masses to coincide precisely? And Rabbi Eliezer holds that when the verse states in the singular, and it shall be that the town which is nearest to the slain man, even the elders of the town shall take a heifer of the herd, Deuteronomy 21:3, it is not necessarily referring to only one town, but even to the two nearest towns, if they are equidistant from the corpse. If it were impossible for both towns to be measured as precisely the same distance from the corpse, they would not bring two heifers, but one in partnership, stipulating that it belongs to the town that is actually closer. The Gemara rejects this. No, Rabbi Eliezer holds in according to the opinion of Yosef Glidi, who says, this is moving on to the next moment, it's possible for two matters that are in the hands of heaven to coincide precisely, and all the more so that that are in human hands. Consequently, one cannot cite Rabbi Eliezer's opinion in order to determine the opinion of the rabbis. Thank you for listening. I wish you a very good day and peace in Israel. All the best. Bye.